If you've been around this podcast for a little bit, you know how much I love and appreciate music. And what that means is really how the lyrics can tell a story and then, it just hits so differently. There are 2 songs with the same title that do this and pair with today's episode. It's called The Man I Want to Be. Now, you don't actually have to be male. It's just a powerful song either way. But today I want us to talk about, are you who you want to be? And there's lots of layers to this question and only you know the answer. But I want to take a deeper dive and talk about some questions for you to reflect on so that as you're going through your life and you encounter different situations that maybe feel a little off or don't align with who you know you're meant to be, that whether you are right now exactly where you hope to be or not quite, you can take a look around and say, okay, what needs to change? How did I get here? And am I willing to make some hard decisions to make that happen? So let's dive in. Are you too busy to prep healthy meals? Do you feel self-conscious about your body and your clothes not fitting right, but you don't have time to work out? Does your life feel unorganized and messy? Do you wish you had routines and habits that made health simple, even with your busy schedule? I know, I've been there. Hi, I'm Shannon Marquita, and no one ever really taught me how to eat healthy. I didn't know anything about nutrition, so I found myself eating whatever was easy, which definitely impacted my energy, weight, and focus. That's why I created this podcast, to show you that through healthy habits and time management, you can know you're doing health right. So stop scrolling social, clicking the ads, and buying all the things. Let's grab our Americano and pop in our AirPods. It's time to solve the real problem together. Welcome home. A fresh start awaits. Before we start this episode, I want to make sure to emphasize that neither this episode nor any other is here to create guilt or shame for you. So if you find in this episode or any ever that you are having some negative feelings arise, I want to encourage you to pause and to, whether you journal or just sit and think about what it is you're feeling and maybe some past memories or situations that are arising for you, and try to find a commonality of why you might be feeling this. It could be shame, it could be rejection, it could be regret. And that's something that you need to work through. So this episode is not here for any of those feelings, and really none of them are. They're here to help you reflect and grow. But if you do have some negative feelings that you're working through, I want to make sure that you process those, because that's a big piece of growth in itself, is to go through the emotions that still need to be healed. And it's a constant journey that we are going to always be on. But the more that we become intentional and aware of what we're feeling and what's triggering it for us, the more that we can grow in a healthy way. So I just want to make sure that you hear that and that you realize that is the case in anything, whether it's this podcast or an interaction with others. If ever you notice some negative feelings arise, ask yourself, is this due to this situation, or is this triggering something from the past that I need to reflect on and sit with and work through? So as we're talking today about are you who you want to be, I know that I mentioned 2 songs with the same title, The Man I Want to Be. One is by Chris Young and one is by Jake Scott. I'll link both in the show notes of this episode, and they both have similar messages, but also slightly different. So, for example, the one by Chris Young starts off by saying, God, I'm down here on my knees because it's the last place left to fall. I'm begging for another chance, if there's any chance at all, that you still might be listening, loving, and forgiving guys like me. So this song, as you can kind of get a feel already, is one where someone's realizing that they're not who they want to be. They're not where they want to be. They have feelings of regret. They have things that they need to work through. They have hurt people that they want to make amends with, and they want to be who they know that they're meant to be, and that has not been the case thus far. The song by Jake Scott, also titled The Man I Want to Be, starts off a little differently. It says, if I become the choices that I make, am I on the road that I should take? Because I've got all these ambitions, but I'm afraid that they'll take me down, but I don't want to end up wishing for the life that I could have found. So as you can see, this is also one of reflection and some regret and some just fear of regret. And so that's what I want us to talk about today is in your life, are you who you want to be? Do you have things in your past that you haven't yet worked through, or people who you've hurt or wronged, or decisions that you made that you wished you did differently? Obviously, we can't go back, and that's a life lesson in itself. Or maybe you're in a place where you're looking ahead and you're just sitting with fear. Can I do it? Am I going to get caught up on the wrong path by shiny things and attention and popularity that I actually begin to neglect my true priorities? I don't know where you are. I don't know your answers to these questions, but only you know, are you truly who you want to be? Whatever the answer, I just want it to be yes for you. I want it to be a resounding yes with every area of your life. Now, the truth is, in different phases, it's really easy to get off track and distracted. It's actually very normal. So what I want is for you to have the power and the strength and the self-discipline and awareness to pause and evaluate. Things might be going really well in one area, but you realize, okay, over here, I'm neglecting it. It's really easy to have a great success track at work and you're getting praised and you can always work harder and do more and show up better. But is that taking time from your family? Is that taking time from you showing up as a present, loving member to your spouse or your kids or even your friends or your parents and siblings? I don't know what your situation looks like, but I just want you to feel that you are who you want to be in every area, because it is common for us to neglect one area that's a little harder, that requires a little more effort, where we're not maybe being built up and encouraged and praised as much as in other ones. So a lot of times that's why it's really easy to lean into work, because it takes a different level of effort and commitment than it does at home in personal relationships, right? So whichever it is for you in this answer, I just want you to pause and ask yourself, does this align with who I want to be? And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, what needs to change? I heard a quote a long time ago, which I'm sure you are familiar with, and it says, everyone has two lives. The second one begins when you realize you only have one. This is your one life. And so when I'm asking this question in this episode, and when you continue to ask it in different seasons of your life, are you who you want to be? It's because you have one life. Time is our most valuable commodity because we can't get more of it. We don't know how much we have. And so everything that you trade it for and invest it in, I want you to feel that you're getting the greatest return, that you are saying, yes, this is investing and this is helping me be who I want to be. The reality is expectations are really heavy, especially if you're like me and you're a recovering people pleaser. You care what people think. I care what people think. But the place that I want you to get to, because that is still not completely abnormal, is, do you care what people think more than what you think? Do you care about others' opinions more than your own? Because this is your life. This is not theirs. They have their own that they are responsible for and accountable for, and you have yours. So everyone's going to always offer their opinions, often unsolicited. It's just the reality. And so you need to take that with a grain of salt. And people that you respect and are mentors and you let speak life and truth into you, take it and process it, whatever it is they say, but you get the final say. You get to make the final decision of what you do with your life. So as you're making these decisions, ask yourself, what do you want? Who do you want to be? How are you showing up and for who? And then who's showing up in there for you? Because oftentimes we are investing in people and it's not mutual. And we mean well. And we might think, oh, I want a relationship with them, or I want them to like me, or this relationship could be really beneficial for X, Y, and Z reason. But if it's not reciprocated, it's not healthy. So you need to decide, who do you want to be? What is it that you want out of life? These could be goals. These could be relationships. These could be all sorts of things. And then the decisions you're making, are they aligning? How are you showing up in your relationships? For those that you're showing up for, are those the right places that you should be investing your time, energy, and efforts? The people and relationships in your life, are those the right ones? Sometimes we stay in friendships or dating relationships longer than we should simply because it's familiar or easy or comfortable. And you might be in a season where you need to make a change. Just because you were friends with somebody back in grade school doesn't mean that it's the right relationship for you now. You guys are making different choices in your life. You guys have different goals, different priorities. And so it doesn't mean that you can't still be connected, But you do need to ask yourself, is this supporting who I want to be and where I'm going and my values and my priorities? The truth is, the more you get clear on these answers, the easier your answers and decisions become. Change is not easy for anybody, but it is necessary for growth and improvement and to continue having the best life for you and for your family. So you have to get better at saying yes to what supports who you're becoming and who you know you're meant to be and what you want for your life. And the better that you get at this and the clearer the vision, just no gets so much easier. Things become yes or no. Things that are a maybe, you're also okay to say no, or at least not right now. No seems hard when things are uncomfortable because we're not clear on what we want, who we want to be, and where we're going. So I just want the most for you. I want the best for you. I want you to feel confident in who you are, the life you're living, who you're becoming, and where you're going. And so I hope this episode has blessed you. I hope you got value. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, whether on social or email, because I love to hear from you. I love to hear the value that you got. I love to hear your questions and your goals and just to walk this journey with you. So I will talk to you soon. If this podcast helped, challenged, or inspired you in some way, I would love it if you'd do me a huge favor and leave me a review over on Apple Podcasts. It helps me to hear from you and know how this is best serving you. And go ahead and screenshot this and share it in your stories. Tag me at Shannon Marquita. That's ShannonMarqueta. And send it over to a friend in a text who is ready for healthy changes in her life too. Let her know that this episode might serve her as well. I am just so grateful for you and would love to hear from you. Come hang out and let's connect over in my Facebook group, bit.ly.com/afreshstart, or send me a message. I look forward to seeing you back here in a few days.